Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
Stop right there. Yeah, you. If you like all things entertainment, current events, or Hollywood, then look no further. Creator to Creators, hosted by director Meosha of Horror Noir, interviews filmmakers and creatives from around the world. Join in on the fun, guest celebrities, and informative information to have as a creator. Hit subscribe and stay connected to Creator to Creators.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today we have a very special guest.
The DA Experience.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm wonderful on this wonderful Saturday morning. It's really early, having my coffee. I'm having a good day. Good day.
Yeah, I'm glad. I hope it looks better for you. We've been getting more of that smoke from the forest fires up in Canada. So and it was raining. It was raining horribly yesterday. And I went out this morning and it's just haze.
Oh,
it's like the air quality has been horrible. You add that with the pollen. So I'm glad you're having a good morning. I'm looking outside and I'm just seeing like the apocalypse. I'm like, oh
no.
I was like, well,
terrible.
Time to get my Mad Max on. Got to get to the gym.
Right. I love that. So I love this show. I love talking to interesting people and people that are in the creative field. And I've been following you for a minute. And I find
since COVID started, I would say,
yeah. You've been
like 2020. It's hard to believe that was going on 40 years almost now.
Wow, really?
Like all the stuff started going down like November of 2019. Lockdown didn't happen until March of 2020.
Yeah, you're right.
So in about 6 months, that would have been 4 years since all that started.
That's crazy. We're like, thank God we're out of that, sort of.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's there, but I'm glad like it's different now. It's like,
right.
Even though I do find myself, and I will go back to the fun stuff, I do find myself saying, well, you can't do that post-COVID. Certain things like, you can't do that. Like we literally have PC and AC, like before, like BC and PC, like before COVID.
Oh my gosh. Yes. It's so crazy, right? So I looked at your bio. Man, you've been like really into this world, like just Marvel comics and since you were a child. I feel like that's so fascinating, and that you're just tell me a little bit about that, how that started.
Okay.
And then kind of transitioning to where you are now.
Okay, most definitely. So I, as a kid, my father always jokes around that he put me in front of a TV at a very young age. So I didn't even know what an introvert was back then, but I was a very introverted kid. I loved playing video games inside the house. I loved watching TV, old movies. We didn't have cable back then, so whatever was on is I would watch. Like this is how I saw like the old school Captain America that never came out in the theater, but it came on TV and I knew about this movie. But as I got older, my cousins got into comic books and stuff, and I was never a reader. I was never a reader. I was like, oh God, no. And then one day somebody at my mother's job was giving them all comic books. And my mother and her brothers and her sisters gave them all to me and my cousins. I have three cousins that are about my age, all boys. They're about my age. And they gave us all the same comic book and changed my life. They all gave us Hardware #1. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I had no idea. Why are they giving us all this book? We had no idea what we were on the ground floor of. Because if anyone that's in the comic book realm, or even once I get, like I said, you seen my video, once you get deep dive into the guy that created it, like it was the first Black comic book company that was getting pushed by a major company like DC. And the stories like felt like, because I grew from up on the west side of Baltimore, this like showed like what my neighborhood looked like. You had a book that had a gang, and then you had Status, this genius kid. Like I was pretty smart myself, and he had these powers. He's running around with a Malcolm X hat as a part of his costume. And then you had Hardware, who was like one part Batman, one part Iron Man. And this whole story is the fact that this company was just using him for his genius and was never going to promote him. So he said, forget it. I'm gonna bring this whole company down. That's the first comic I ever read. And then from there, I was hooked. I would go to the local 7-Eleven and I would steal looking books. And the downside, it was crazy. It was, I would go, you know, and then as I got a little bit older and realized, oh, comics come out this day. And
Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
There are shops that just sell comic books because the stores around me, like Rite Aid, 7-Eleven, stuff like that, like the local convenience store, they would get random books. So I couldn't stay with any one book in particular. I would just see a cover and I would grab that book. But then I figured out there were comic book stores and I got into that. And I just read all through high school. And then I got to college and I was like, oh, okay, can't be in the comic books, you know, can't be the geeky guy. I did not realize, this is 1999, like can't be the geeky guy, because I went to like an HBCU.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to A&T, you know, Aggie Pride.
Nice.
But I had this mystique that, oh no, nobody's going to be into comic books and cartoons and movies. I fell in love with this group of people. We were into anime before everybody else. Like this is back when Dragon Ball Z exploded.
Oh, yes.
On Toonami. Yes, so we were into that. And then we would talk about my one friend, like, yeah, man, my favorite superhero is Icon. I'm like, Icon? What you know about Icon? Like, he was like, what? Icon fought Superman? Worlds collide? We've been friends ever since. He still calls me to this day. I call him Big Mike. He still calls me to this day. Anytime something's on, he tells me to talk about it. He will talk for like hours if I don't wrap him in. I'm like, hey man, come on, it's been an hour and 45. You got a family. I got to let you go. And so we've been friends for almost over 20 years now.
Wow.
And that whole group is like 5 or 6 of them I stay great with, and we talk all things pop culture. But I always loved pop culture and stuff. And people would say stuff to me. And I was like, well, you know, like this person won an Oscar for that movie, or you know, like she only had this many lines. How do you do that? And it just always retained with me. And as I got older, I stayed reading comic books, and I always tried to like stay with the people I knew and support. Like if I saw something new out and it had like a Black creator or Black, like lots of times now it's better now, but back then a lot of people didn't get their stuff into a store all the time. We didn't have Instagram. You didn't have Kickstarter, so you couldn't push your stuff like that. But if I saw, oh, there's a new Black Panther book, Reggie Hudlin's run, I have the complete run, first appearance of Shuri, I have it like mounted on my wall, CGC graded. I love that run. Christopher Priest's run, where he introduced the Dora Milaje. Black Panther is my favorite character. Nice. So I have like all these comics. I bought the issue where her and Storm and T'Challa got married, and I'm reading the Ebony article about the woman that did Halle Berry. See, here's my memory. The woman that did Halle Berry's dress for the Oscars designed Storm's wedding dress for their wedding issue.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I didn't know that.
This is an Ebony. I'm like, oh, come on, yes. So it's like little facts like that I retained. And as I got older, I just kept reading. And just, you know, time like went by, and I realized like I like talking about movies. I like doing this stuff. So I know I'm kind of random. I'm trying to like, I talk fast. So if I'm talking,
I love it. I love it.
So as I got a little bit older, YouTube explodes. And now I can visit all the old stuff that I loved before. And I kick myself to this day for not buying a camera when YouTube first started and just learning how to upload. I'm born in that computer generation, but I couldn't code and all this. Like when YouTube first started, it was so complicated. It was crazy. But you had these 10-year-olds and stuff doing it who are now millionaires because they were there since day one. Yeah, like the whole Smosh thing. You know, this was just two 13-year-olds, and they turned into $1 million company, Mr. Beast.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's just to see people like this what it started as. So I always wish I'd done that. But I got older and I was like, well, people seem to like my opinion on movies and things. So I started doing videos, and I realized it was a little bit hard to do long-term video. And then off of when I was on Snapchat and I got an ad for like TikTok, and I saw somebody like just lip syncing something. I was like, Snapchat, what's that? TikTok. It was on Snapchat for TikTok. I'm like, TikTok, what's that? And I downloaded it, and then I think like God, I want to say September of 2019, maybe a little bit before that. And just like everyone else, I fell in love with it. I'm just like, oh. I'm that person that every single person gets on TikTok. I'm never going to make a video. I'm never going to make a video. I'm never going to do. I'm like, oh, these are cute. These are cringy. I'm never going to do this. I'm never. But then I fell into this comic book space and movie space, and I started seeing people like Straw Hat Goofy, hit him with the cat kick, and I started seeing like people pop up on my feed. I'm like, oh, like Nikki Marie, and I'm like, oh, there are people that look like me out there that are talking about stuff I like to talk about. Well, maybe somebody will listen to me. And it didn't do anything at first until one time I just reacted to like something on my TV and it blew up. And then I was like, well, right. And I was like, oh, I can do this. And I realized, oh, I can do a quicker form of a video without having in the editing software was all there. So it made me lazy. I'm like, oh, I can just hit that green screen button, put something behind me, talk about the movie for 15 seconds to a minute and upload. And
it works.
Exactly. And like my sister said, like people, her friends always like look, they're like, your brother has like a following. She was like, yeah, they're like, how did it? She was like, he literally just got on at the right time when it exploded. And I'm like, yeah, and I like it, I guess. And it just took off from there. And
were you surprised?
I was when you look that first time you see a video, like get a couple hundred, you're like, oh, okay. And then you see that same video now get 1,000. You're like, all right. And then you look at your followers, you're going from this 1 to 10. And then that same video now has 10,000 views and 100. That first time you get that like over 100,000 view video, you're like, what did I do? And you start trying to repeat that. And I realized about social, like all these things, reels and shorts, you can't always capture like it in a bottle. You got to do it similar, but you could not do it the same exact way because it would never work.
I know, it's wild how it works.
It's crazy. And the first one blows up, and you're like, oh my God. Next thing I know, another one blows up. And it's like, oh, 100 followers, 1,000, 10. I'm like, what? You can go live. You're now the TikTok creator. I'm like, okay. And I look up, and I'm like, 150, 100. How much? So, and then they got into a little bit of their stuff, and YouTube started shorts and reels with Facebook and Instagram. And I did, and it became like just a fun hobby to do. Like, oh, I do a video, but it was like, it wasn't daily. It was like, oh, you think you want to grow, and then you realize how hard it is, and everybody out there is doing the same exact thing. And you're like, you start getting a little disenfranchised, but you're like, all right, well, okay. And I just went back to reading my comics. I'm like, well, I'll do my own thing. I'll just talk about comic books. I talk about scenes in comic books that I like. And those caught on, and I thought for a while, maybe I'll just read the book. People say I have a nice voice. I'll read the book, and different stuff, right? And then it's like then real started. So you post stuff here, do some movie news, but you're like, okay, people like it, but it's like it's a nice quaint thing that people kind of know you for.
Yeah.
And then I thought like, well, we're always talking about these characters we love, but nobody seems to be talking about like some of these obscure Black characters or characters of color, or nobody seems to be focusing on what happened when, how this character got created. Like sometimes people don't know the creators. A lot of people know like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. A lot of people don't know, like they don't know them until you tell them something. They don't know who Dwayne McDuffie was. They didn't know who Christopher Priest was. They didn't know who Reggie Hudlin was. They didn't know who these people were that helped create. They didn't know that Baker. They didn't know that the man that helped create like the whole, if you look it up, Good Girl image was a Black man from the 20s that created all these covers like Phantom Lady, where you see like the pretty woman on the front running from danger. He did hundreds of thousands of covers like that, but nobody realized that this man did that. So
why do you think that was? Because it just wasn't like they didn't get as much coverage as someone else.
Yeah, well, I think especially back then they had to keep it hidden. Like, oh, they're not going to read. Like, he's a great artist, but they're not going to read our book if they find out that he's Black. No. It's the 20s.
Yeah.
So but I think also like it just wasn't in news articles, but there were people doing stuff out there. Like Friday Forster, who started their own things and got into national papers and stuff like that. And Twiggy, this was about a girl from down the South who makes her way to working in a cotton club in Harlem. Again, this is a woman that created this character, a Black woman that created this character, created this whole story, ran this story for years, got it into a nationally publicated paper, like not a national paper. She got it into like over 200 different independent papers. And people don't even talk about the character until you go out and you find like this volumes of books about this character.
That's crazy. Like so thank you for doing this. Thank you for sharing that kind of information, because I always wonder, I'm like, why isn't, I don't know. And maybe now it's a little different. And like you said, Black Panther, which is awesome. I really, it's one of I love it too. But is there enough Black representation in the comic world now? Do you think it's changing for the better?
It is changing for the better. But one thing I did notice, and it can get better. Like if I had to go through the DC books right now and name 5 books led by a person of color or a Black person, they're in the book, but like anybody can go in there and say Batman, Superman, Flash, Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I'm like, name me 3 DC characters who have their own comic book right now that are Black. Like,
yeah.
And you can. It's like, but and they do it, but then they'll only make them limited series where they'll only be like 6 issues. So right now, Steel has a comic book called Steelworks. It's a limited series. Cyborg, who they tried to push to the moon, especially with the Justice League movie and the cartoons and stuff, can't get an ongoing series for some reason. It's like, why? It's like 6 issues. Even they brought back the Milestone universe, and Static Shock has had like 3 different mini-series right now. So I'm like, why can't we just get an ongoing series? Like on the Marvel side of things, it's a little bit better because there will always be a Black Panther comic. Now, especially, there was a period there between 1992 or I would say 1998 for like about 5 years where there was no Black Panther book. And even when he got a book, they always didn't run that long, or they put them on their underline, like the main Marvel line. This Black Panther book is in our Marvel Knights line, which is like where our independent writers, and that's where Christopher Priest came in. Like, this is where our independent writers write. He wrote a long run, like 57 issues with the book, which was unheard of at the time. And then Reggie Hudson took over and he ran it. And ever since then, since like 2003, there's always been a Black Panther comic. But if you ask for like other, Marvel Black characters, like why can't Storm get an ongoing series?
I would love that.
First, like major, she's Marvel's first Black female superhero, and she has she has a book out right now, but guess what it is? It's a miniseries. It's 6 issues. So it's like, can't she get an ongoing? Like, you talk to anybody, they will read a Storm book.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I also think like some people, like what you've told me is, people are like, man, you got me back into reading. I didn't know about all these characters. And there's hundreds of them. I'm glad to hear that because people are now picking up stuff. And the craziest one was the whole butterfly thing. Nobody knew about this character. Like, and that video went crazy about, the butterfly, the first Black female superhero. She used like a costume, but superhero. And the fact that she was public domain. Like,
that's
we're
crazy.
like, what? Oh, yeah. She was like a Las Vegas showgirl who went out at night in a butterfly costume and used strobe lights and a motorcycle to take down bad guys. Like, how is this not nobody made this into a TV show?
Thank you.
Nobody. And it's you don't have to talk to anybody. This character is in the public domain.
Yeah.
Anybody can do anything with this character. And that blew up. I mean, I'm a humble brag a little bit. I'm looking at him like Michael B. Jordan, like my video. Like,
I love it. No, I love it. We it's time. I think people we want to see this. I think it's a great time right now. And the fact that, you're shining a light on this. I mean, look, in a perfect world, if I had unlimited funds, I would totally make that, right? But like, my goodness, right? That it's just like with all these, and I always say this, we have a lot of amazing African-American, people that are in powerful positions that could create these things and make them happen. I don't understand why it's not being made right now. Or is it hard to get made? And I guess it is because
it is, but
they green light that.
It's like, and they stick to the same, because Hollywood a lot of times they're scared too, and they stick to the same stuff that they know is going to work. And after a while, it's like, I love Spider-Man, but I've seen Uncle Ben gets shot 5 times now. I don't need to see Uncle Ben get shot anymore.
Right.
Can I get me a live action Miles Morales?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I've seen Superman, but can I get Val Zod, who I talked about the other day? People are like, Val Zod, who's that? I'm like, come on, man. It's a Superman who is Black, but afraid to go outside and a pacifist. Like, there's so much you can tell with that story. Or President Superman, Calvin, he's like, this is a Superman that came out during the time of Barack Obama, and DC put it out there, and he's on the cover. And this is a Black Superman that becomes president of the United States.
That's crazy. That's so.
But the whole world knows he's Superman, so he's actually called President Superman.
Wow. That's
cool. He's a huge. So like to write a president, like these are stories, and as I do like every day, there's like hundreds of just characters out there that don't even get touched or used or even given a second look.
Would you make one if you could?
I've always thought about it. I don't think I'm good enough writer to. I've always thought about, let me write a script or something. I'm like, I wouldn't even know the first thing about like script doctoring or creating a script or anything like that. Like, I can definitely be a consultant. I can like, oh no, yeah, that's a good idea. But yeah, I'm like everybody else. Like, that's the reason I get in front of the camera and do it. I'm like, yeah, I would love to do a movie or something like that someday. But I'm like, I don't know if I can actually. I would have to hire a whole lot of people to know how to do a better job than me.
You could do it. You could totally do it.
Everybody says that. They're like, I was like, I would love to make my own book. And I people like, oh man, just let me know. I'm like, it is that fear of like, oh God, I really like. Okay, now I got to come up with an idea. Like you say it, it is like, okay, I guess I actually have to do this now.
Right, exactly. No, that'd be so great.
The podcast, I'm like, oh, somebody actually wants to talk to me. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I think I've done like 3 podcasts in my entire life. So
what?
Every time,
are you serious?
Yeah.
Like you should start your own your show. And I mean, I'd listen that you have so like the way you like talk about like comics and the war. It's just, I don't know. It's just different. It just hits different than a lot of people. And it's great. And I mean, kudos to you, seriously. And like, I'd listen to that. So I think you'd be surprised.
I would, and the one thing I heard, they were like, man, you just gotta make it to 3 episodes. I was like, oh
yeah.
They were like, you realize how people start a podcast and don't make it to the 3rd episode? They were like, if you make it to the 3rd, they said you make it to the 3rd episode, you are in the top 75% of podcasters. Wow. I was like, what? They were like, yeah. All you get, they were like, if you make it to 10, you're in the top 90%. Like most people start them, but it's like the kind of thing like, oh, I'll do it whenever. But if you can actually get like that discipline of having a schedule.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sky's the limit. And you're not the first person to tell me that. And thank you again. Appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
It said like, nah, man, you should do a podcast. I'm like, me? Like nobody wants to listen to me. Like,
oh my God. You have a great voice.
Really? Nah.
Great voice. Yeah, like you just put. Yeah, I mean, like I can just imagine, like just I don't know, just being out and about walking, and I put it on. I'm like, it's just like it's like, oh, okay. You had that like that very much like everything you say. It's like, oh, that's super. Like, oh, I didn't know. Oh, like it's like authority as well, but not like. But you want like it's like, oh, okay, I believe this guy.
Right. Okay. I get you. It's like, don't get me wrong. I have been wrong once or twice about something, and the people in the comment section will let you know. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's like, no, I mean, for the most part, like when you talk, like you know what you're talking about. People like, hey, he knows exactly what you're talking about. I'm like, I made a big mistake the other day. I was like, Panther voiced Scarf and Snarf on Thundercats. People were like, he did, and then I go back and research. I'm like, ooh, that wasn't right. But I had all these people like, I didn't know that. I'm like, oh. And this would be the one to blow up. I'm like,
I know. And then everybody's in the comments are like, no.
So I'm having to go through every comment like, I know I made a mistake. So I actually had to like put a video saying like, hey, my bad. I do make a mistake from time to time. Sometimes it's like my whole process is like, I try to think of, okay, who am I going to do today? And then that night before, I like try to do as much research as I can, and then I try to get it out. So I need to get into the habit of like batching, because it's like trying to do it the day before. You make a mistake. If you give yourself some time, you can kind of edit it and you like caught it early. But it's like I didn't realize I've done this now, over 100 days, like straight.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the most consistent streak of anything in my life, besides like going to work Monday through Friday.
Right.
It's like I'm like looked up. I'm like, oh yeah, I started this on February 3rd. It's now July 1st.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's like 6 months. I'm like, cool.
That is awesome. Do you, I mean, is there stuff like, as far as like in the comic world now, what would you like to see done if you could, if there could be a movie, even for the existing Black character already, doesn't have
Oh,
to be Black, but if like that you would like to see as a movie or get done that they haven't actually touched yet, and why?
DC is sitting on a gold mine and they don't even realize it. I don't know what's going on between them and Milestone, and while they haven't done it, they can catch fire every time. Why they haven't done a Static Shock live action TV show or movie yet, with the popularity of Miles Morales, it shows like people want to. An animated static movie, a live action show, or a live action movie
That
it
sounds
is
good.
it is ready to explode, and they are just like twiddling their thumbs with this character, and I'm like, you have your Spider-Man right there, like you have him ready to go. And there's so many people out there like Static Shock. This was the number 2 cartoon at one point, ran for 5 years, number 2 cartoon. The only cartoon on television that was more popular than Static was Pokemon.
Oh wow.
Pokemon. If you go back and you like research like merchandise, you won't find any t-shirts.
Hmm.
You'll find one Subway toy. You'll find a few Scholastic books. They practically made no merchandise for this character.
Hmm.
Right. You're like, why? Like, you're like, I wonder why.
Yeah.
A character that has dreads flying around, doesn't look
Yeah.
like everybody else. I
But
wonder
it's
why there's not.
2023 though. Like, what are we
He's finally
doing?
he has some toys now. I have
Oh,
like a
thank
Funko Pop,
God. Thank
but
God.
there's still like no shirts and stuff. Like
Oh,
people walking around with that symbol, or how many kids were jumped on like a hoverboard? It looks like a trash can, some static gloves, kids dressed up in costumes.
yeah.
I'm like, y'all have y'all Miles Morales sitting here, and y'all are just like wasting it. Like
Yeah.
push this guy to the moon. So I don't know if it's something behind the scenes with like the rights to the character or something, or
Yeah, that could be that
what.
too.
But that might, I know a couple years back there was talks of like Jaden Smith being in a static
Ooh.
TV show. Yeah, which at the time, this is like right after Karate Kid. I'm like, all right,
Oh.
that would have been perfect. So again, that shows you how long ago that was, 10 years ago.
Right.
And every so often you'll hear something pop up about it, but then it just fades
Just
back
good.
off. And,
Interesting.
and on the WB side of things, they can't really get their whole whatever going right now anyway. So I haven't seen the Flash yet, but I've heard things.
Yeah.
I've heard
Well,
things.
hey, fingers crossed. Hopefully we get something with
Again, right.
these
And
characters.
then they announced this new slate of stuff, and I'm like, okay, where's Mr. Terrific? Because James Gunn likes these obscure characters. I'm like, where's Mr.
Right.
Terrific?
Right.
Where's Vixen? Where's Bumblebee in the Guardian? No. We getting the Amanda Waller show. Okay, great for Viola. I love Viola, but like announced 20 other things, one show. I guess we'll take it.
We'll take it.
We'll take it. And unfortunately,
True.
me joking saying that is also a lot of the issue. Is like
Yeah.
very like here, and a lot of times because we don't get a lot, we're happy to take what we do get.
Sad.
And sometimes they don't always put the effort into that thing they give us that they should, but like they do with the other stuff. That's why I think the Black Panther did so well, because you had somebody directing it and writing it and doing the costumes that had this reverence for this character that had never been seen before. That's why I got, Best Picture nominations. And people are like, oh, they're just doing it for this. I'm like, nah, man, like the costuming in this movie is phenomenal. Like people were like, there's a reason why out of all the MCU movies, Black Panther is the only one, Black Panther 2 is the only one to get a acting nomination, because Angela Bassett was acting. She was acting. That scene where she's like, I have given I'm like, I got tears in my eyes.
Yeah,
like,
same.
Good God. I'm like, if that woman didn't win, and she didn't, but she got some other awards where she got the recognition. And so it's like you have Ryan Coogler backing this movie. You had Michael B. Jordan in there playing one of the baddest villains ever because people could like, I see where he's coming from. You're not right, but I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave it this regal presence when he walked on the screen, and you were like, "That's a king." Like people still call this man king after the movie was done, just because of the presence that he presented. So I think that's the main thing. That if they do stuff, you got even. I go back to it again. Beyond and Into the Spider-Verse, they gave Miles reverence. They didn't just say, "Oh, here's a." And there's nothing wrong when you have to do it when it doesn't matter with the upbringing of the character, but they actually created something new with Miles, and they showed it reverence. They were like, "Here's his character. Here's his backstory. Here's his family." Like they let him grow. They let him become this, and now he's like a cultural and comic book phenomenon. Like, he's dressing up as them. They got books everywhere. 2 hit movies, an Oscar. It's like, there you go. When you give it that reverence and you show it that it can be great, we will go support it. But you can't just do something like as much as people like it, and I don't want to rag, like Steel. Hey, here's Shaq as a character, and you watch the trailer, and you're kind of like, y'all ain't put no effort into that whatsoever. But then you have something like Spawn, where the CGI is amazing, and you got this, like to this day, it's been out 30 years almost. People like that cape is still that
right.
flowing.
It was
CGI flowing, but you're like that cape was amazing. You know, it's like absolutely. I would love to do a Spawn movie with that, like an actor. Nothing against Michael J. White, but like an actor like Jamie Foxx is attached.
Oh
to
yeah.
Come on, and you get Jamie Foxx behind it. You get a big director behind it, and you show it that reverence that people have in their heart for it. It's like they
don't go far.
They like everybody while it was on CW. Everybody was talking about Black Lightning when it came out. They were like, Black Lightning. People didn't know who this guy was. I'm like, oh, y'all don't know. Y'all in for a trip. Black Lightning did some stuff like, did you know that he used to code switch? Like, we talking like, yeah, because he was a teacher and talked about education. He used to put, like, when you see those covers with that, bro, that bro was a wig. He did that so people would think he was down and would actually talk to him on the streets. Like, like really? Like, yeah, like it's just stuff like that.
And I like that you know, because that's something that is real, you know, that happens in our community. Code switching. I mean, that is a legit thing.
That is a thing, right? It's like, and when you first read he did that, you don't even think of it like that. And again, I didn't think about it like that until I put the video up and somebody said, "Oh, they were like, oh, Black Lightning like a code switch," and I was like, "No," I was like, "Wait, oh, you're right."
Man, I love this. No, this is so good, and I wish I can talk longer. Our show is not a long show, but I have to definitely have you back on for sure. Because
it was fun. It was fun.
Oh my God.
I could talk. You could tell I could kind of talk a little bit. So
no, I love. Oh my God, this is good.
Over you, I do forgive, but when somebody gets me started, I kind of like.
Oh no. No, this was so good. Oh my God. Everybody's gonna love this episode. I know I loved it. And I'm just like listening, like, oh, I wish it was longer. I want to definitely have you back on for sure.
I know you probably had some questions you didn't even get to.
Oh, so I definitely have some on the next one for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I'm very excited. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited. But thank you so much. Where can people find you on social media to follow you on all the social media sites?
All the social medias. I'm on YouTube, the DA Experience. I'm on Instagram, the DA Experience _. I'm on, what's the other one? Twitter as well. And there's a Facebook page that I sometimes upload that I'm getting a little bit better with. It's the DA Experience, but most of my stuff that everybody sees first goes up on Instagram. So the DA Experience _. And it's pretty much out there on all socials, Twitter. I think there's even a a Snapchat now too. So I try to keep it the same so everybody can kind of brand me.
Oh, it's perfect. Oh yeah, I find you. I see you everywhere. I'm like, look at him. There he is. I love it.
It's crazy when your cousins, you're like, hey man, people give me your videos. I'm like, what are you talking? They were like I got this today. So I'm like,
I love that. I love that. That's awesome. Well, hey, that means you're doing something right. So hey, keep doing it. And again, I wish you all the best. And I mean, everybody who's listening to the show, guys, go follow. He's amazing. And yeah, until next time, always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys soon.
Have a good one. Bye.